Hey Summoners, welcome back to another ProGuides video. With the season just weeks from its end, we thought we'd throw you guys a helping hand and go over 6 methods to help you push for those last wins you need to rank up. We'll be covering things for every role, but we'll have to admit that they're not all created equal. Sorry folks, we're looking at you bot lane. Nevertheless, like we mentioned, we're covering things for all 5 roles, so don't worry too much. For our question of the day, what is one thing that you wish you were better at in League? For me, I wish I could look at my mini-map better. I drop my wards to avoid ganks and sometimes still die to them even when I should have seen the enemy jungler walk through them. Let us know in the comments down below your answer alongside any feedback that you have for us. But before we get started, make sure that you go to ProGuides.com if you want to see huge improvements in your rank. We upload video guides similar to this one on our website every single day. As of now, we're currently uploading a Challenger gameplay analysis guide for every single champion, so make sure to click that link below. Also, we have an exclusive coaching feature called Play with a Pro, which provides instant, on-demand, 24/7 coaching from the best of the best. Trust me guys, you don't want to miss out on this, so sign up today. Alright, with all that being said, let's jump right into it. Our first recommended strategy can be done alone or with a duo partner. While we do suggest using a partner to have a higher success rate, this is something that you can definitely do solo if you're a jungle main or autofilled. You'll want to pick an early ganking champion like Xin Zhao or Jarvan. Start red and immediately level 2 gank one of your solo lanes. Ganking bottom lane is an option, but only if you have a solid setup. Another option is Shaco, who can quickly clear to level 3 and go for a gank just a little bit later than the other 2 champions we just mentioned. While some players might call this cheese, it's just a label. The only reason you wouldn't want to go for a certain strategy is if the probability of succeeding at it is low, and if you can get punished hard for it. In this case, neither of these is applicable. Even if you fail your gank, your opponent would need to invade the opposite side of your jungle to punish you. You can simply walk into theirs to match. In terms of probability, I've lost count of how many times level 2 ganks have succeeded, especially against top laners. There's less summoner spells there, and the lane is long, unlike the mid lane, so this is probably where your best bet is. You'll be able to potentially pick up a free kill and get a lane snowballing, with the risk of having to split the map at worst. To get around this, make sure that you level 2 gank a lane that is a priority of yours. That way you don't lose as much if the map does get split. The reason this strategy is so strong is that most players don't know how to punish it, and because it's one of the fastest ways possible to rack up takedowns. Honestly, a lot of this strategy's power is psychological as well. Watching one of your laners die at the 2-minute mark is tilting for everyone on your team, including the person dying, and this weakens morale. Many players start tilting after one death, fork over another, and cause their teammates a great deal of frustration as a result. And then this will eventually lead to your opponents typing to each other instead of playing the game. For those of you watching, we might as well mention that you shouldn't fall for this. Keep your head up and realize things happen and any game is comebackable. You just have to make smart plays elsewhere on the map and try to bait your enemies into bad moves. Next up is a classic. We mentioned the power of early takedowns, and this one is the way to get them the fastest. Pick a champion with level 1 CC, preferably Pyke or Blitzcrank, and invade. Other candidates include Nautilus and Thresh, but we think these 2 champions are the strongest. Take an educated guess on where the enemy jungler is starting, ping your team, and move in as a group. If you see an enemy while making the rounds, you can hook them for a free flash or takedown. Make sure, however, that you assess the enemy team comp before doing so. If they have an insane level 1 team comp like Alistar, Aatrox, Jace, Tristana, Cassiopeia, it's an ill-advised invade. In these situations, you should instead proceed slowly, using your trinket ward once you reach the enemy's side of the jungle, or pulling into a brush from max range so that you don't find yourself suddenly getting aced before minions spawn. Honestly, you want to use this strategy because it has a very high chance of getting you a lead before minions even spawn. In lower elo especially, you'll want to use this strategy because players won't know that they need to stack to counter. Also, there's a chance you'll be able to get a summoner spell and a kill. Once you make someone blow a summoner spell, you or your jungler can take advantage of this with roams or ganks. As a result, you'll be able to guarantee someone wins their lane by applying a lot of pressure towards laners who waste their summoner spells. If you're lucky, your lane partner will pick up the kill, and you can start the lane off with an item advantage too. Rengar plus Ivern. Our next strategy is to utilize a duo of Rengar and Ivern. That's Rengar top and Ivern jungle, by the way. We highly advise not mixing that up. 2 reasons that you want to consider using this strategy are that Rengar's win rate as a top laner is higher than his win rate as a jungler. The other reason is that this duo has a 59% win rate. Yeah, 59%. Last patch had a bigger sample size, but even that one was just below 56%. In other words, this duo is strong. Very strong. I think the reason for this is that they haven't really been balanced around together. Both Ivern and Rengar are jungle champions, so it's really uncommon to see them on the same team. Another thing to consider is that Rengar is balanced around his reliance on brushes and his ultimate. While he packs a punch and deals damage very quickly, it's conditional. By adding Ivern into the mix, he's able to reach his full power anytime he's got his green-thumbed friend next to him. Think about it like this. This Ferocious Cat's chains are unshackled as soon as he's supported by Ivern. Another reason why this duo is strong is because of how powerful it sets up the top side of their team to be. Rengar-Ivern is one of the strongest 2v2 duos because of Rengar's insane damage, assisted by Ivern's shields and CC to bring out the most of Rengar's talents. Typically, Rengar is known as a champion who jumps in, takes one kill, and has to wait until his ultimate comes off cooldown to be useful again. With the brushes Ivern can create, this timer no longer exists, and he's free to pounce on his foes over and over, making him a much stronger team fighter. Earlier on in the game, Ivern can invade the topside jungle since Rengar is usually a very powerful and self-sufficient laner. If you missed it, Bwipo pulled it out at Worlds and showed how strong of a laner Rengar is. I think this is one of the most underrated duos in the game, and the best part is it's not a bot lane duo. There's finally a viable strategy for duoing that doesn't restrict you to the bottom lane and still allows you to reap the maximum benefits of duo queue. With that said, we need to give some love to our mid lane friends. With or without a duo, we heavily suggest picking Malzahar or Twisted Fate up to finish the season. If you're comfortable on him, Twisted Fate is an equally simple and effective champion, but Malzahar's win rate and power level seems to put him in a better spot at the moment. We don't want to discourage any of you guys, but if you feel equally as comfortable or uncomfortable on both champions, just roll with Malzahar. You can definitely utilize these picks alongside some of the early ganking junglers we mentioned like Shin, Jarvan, and Shaco. A gold card from Twisted Fate guarantees a level 2 kill, while Malzahar's level 6 makes ganks one of the easiest tasks to accomplish. You want to take these picks into consideration for their gank setup as well as ability to gank side lanes. You don't need to pick up solo kills in these champions, just push in your lane or set up freezes so that your jungler can come and pick up free kills. Once you have lanes shoved in, make sure to look to either side lane for opportunities to either gank or dive. Kills are a very effective way to get the ball rolling, and it's not because you get gold out of it actually. When you roam for a kill, your opponent gets to shove and try to equalize the gold difference. Instead, the reason why this is significant is because it takes your opponents off the map. While they're dead, they're missing farm and falling further and further behind. Of course, a kill is usually worth more than a wave anyway, especially considering assist gold. Nevertheless, remember that the real takeaway is how far you set your opponents behind, especially when you successfully gank or dive on stacked waves. If you're duoing, make sure to move together because this makes roaming so much safer and easier. If you've watched our other videos, you already know we're going to tell you to dive top. It's really easy because most top laners run teleport. The only summoner spell a top laner will have for themselves is flash, while bot laners can usually run any combination of heal, cleanse, barrier, ignite, and exhaust. As the game progresses, both of these champions can make game-winning picks whenever they notice enemies out of position. They have the go button with or without flash, and it's all on you to be able to recognize pick opportunities. Up next, let's talk a little bit more about the bot lane. If you don't know, Ashe has the highest win rate among marksmen with over a 54% win rate. For those of you diving in solo, pick Ashe because she's OP. I honestly didn't think that years later, the champion I had to build Thornmail onto to pass the tutorial would get this far. It's probably for the plot or something. While her win rate is already insane, we also suggest picking her alongside Swain, who is one of her strongest duo partners at the moment. Ashe Swain's kill potency at 6 is basically the strongest among any 2v2 bottom lane duo. It's kind of ironic because the enemy will need to focus Swain down in spite of the fact that Ashe is the carry. Regardless of who picks up kills, either of these champions can carry their games. What this duo provides is high damage, oppressive laning, and incredible utility. Pre-6, Swain and Ashe can still set up ganks very well since they have good lockdown together. Also, Ashe's slows make it a lot easier for Swain to land his root. This also means that in 2v2 fights, they can exert a lot of kill pressure at all stages of the game. Once they hit 6, an arrow landing is a guaranteed kill on basically any marksman. Both these champions deal a lot of damage and can also scout the fog of war with one of their abilities. There's practically no weaknesses to this lane except that they can get ganked easily. As long as they farm up to 6, however, they're definitely capable of 2v3ing once they get some poke off beforehand. For those of you wondering, their win rate is just below 59% this patch with over 4,000 games played as a duo. Last patch, it was 56% with over 7,000 games played, so the sample size is definitely big enough. If you've been watching Worlds, you should honestly know our next strategy already. Pick Kayle. She's seeing a lot of success in play at Worlds, and her solo queue win rate is also insanely high. If you're a top laner, pick her up. She's one of the strongest late game champions and is rather safe as well. You wouldn't think so, but Kayle is able to safely farm with her abilities, and all she needs to do is hold on until level 6. Once she hits that breakpoint, she becomes ranged and her life gets so much easier. I played her a couple times this patch, and for how simple she was, it felt like I was so strong. Kayle can do it all. She can split push and team fight very well because she deals high damage and provides a bunch of utility with her ultimate. In 1v1s in the side lane, her ultimate instead makes it almost impossible to beat her in a 1v1, especially if you're a melee champion. Once she finishes Gunblade, she's able to just run you down and at worst chunk you for about 40% of your health. From there, she can continue to apply pressure and poke you under turret if left unchecked. If your opponents start collapsing on you as Kayle, they'll need to likely bring more than one person because you can just straight up 1v2 if you manage to poke your direct opponent down a little bit beforehand. With the champions that are meta, Kayle's ultimate is one of the hardest counters to divers and assassins. You can save an ally from death and render those assassins or divers practically useless. It's already 5v4, but you're playing Kayle, so you basically count as 3 champions. Sounds unfair, but that's really what it feels like. 100,000 matches played this patch and a 53% win rate doesn't lie, guys. And that concludes this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys want more content to help you improve, check out ProGuides.com, where we've teamed up with pro players to create guides designed to take your game to the next level. Also, keep an eye on our YouTube channel, where we're constantly updating it with content just like this. Good luck out there on the Rift, guys. We'll see y'all next time.